Welcome to the Bonafide Literary Show. You have now been authenticated. Hattie's Heart Hurts by Cindy Walton is a children's story and personal journal about grief and loss for children ages 4 through 8. Hattie's Heart Hurts is the story of a young hedgehog who is struggling with the death of her grandmother, Leona. Hattie's father gives her a journal and encourages her to fill it with memories and anything that helps her to remember the good times she had with her grandmother. Hattie finds herself making a memory tree with each leaf containing a written memory of her beloved grandma, Leona. With each memory, Hattie's heart hurts less as she fills her journal with wonderful memories of the past and comes to realize that as long as she has her memories, her grandma will forever be in Hattie's heart. The back of the book provides a personal journal section for the child to make her own memory tree or draw pictures of some of their favorite memories of their loved one. This book was written by a Nana who sincerely believes that loving memories and the support of others is the best way to make a hurting heart heal. Cindy Walton's Hattie's Heart Hurts is available on www.whimsicalwordspublishing.com and amazon.com. It is reported there are about 46 million Americans living below the poverty line, yet Paul LaJoie writes that it is impossible to be poor in this country. Read his book and you will know why he makes this bold and outrageous statement. He knows better. He was born in a poor village in Africa. It is impossible to be poor in America. Get this book by Paul LaJoie at www.lajoiesolutions.com and amazon.com. Welcome, readers and authors. I'm your host, Deidra Hughey, the eroticist and author, La Drama Princess. Tonight's episode is Season 3, Episode 3, What Every Author Should Know, Avoiding Scams, Ripoffs, and Robbers, Straight Talk. We're going to discuss it all. If you would like to get in on it, jump in the chat room or call in using the number 818-495-6960. If you're on the line, press 1 during the talkback segment to voice your opinion on this hot topic. The Bonafide Literary Show is on Sundays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern on Avid Reader Nation on blogtalkradio.com. To get notified of this, hit follow on the Avid Reader Nation page on Blog Talk Radio to get all our updates. Once you're a subscriber of the show, you can also use links to the episodes sent to you by email to listen from your computer or tablet. While you're over there on the Avid Reader Nation page, check out my other shows like the Book Tea with Deidra Hughey and Outskirts Science Fiction Theater. It is nearly impossible in the writing community to have not heard of at least one person you know, either closely or through some degrees of separation, who's been scammed. There are takers out there, and they are on social media in droves. Regardless of the countless stories we've heard with all the same storylines, at least once a month there is a new exposure of a thief who has run off with the money or intellectual property of some poor author. So how can we stop this from happening? Tonight, we're going to look deep into the scamming issue in the writing community going forward in 2015. There will be some offenses made, some defenses declared, and unquestionably more exposures. Now, I'm not coming after anyone in particular by doing this show, but as a businesswoman who publishes her own books and runs this network of Avid Reader Nation shows, I don't know who to trust most times, and I'm constantly afraid I'm going to get caught up in some scam situation. As an effect, I am very leery of who I will work with. I know that's a bad thing because I should be more open to working with all sorts of people who say they are in my field, but that's just the thing. What people say and what they really are all about are often two very different things. To know when they're being scammed and are about to be robbed blind. First, let's look at the signs of an author scam. Number 1. She makes big promises of huge connections to a lot of important people. Here's the main question. Who are these people? How exactly is she connected to them? Where's her resume? Are these connections the right ones for you and your book? Here's some wisdom. Big isn't always better, and anyone can make up anything they want when they feel like it. Number two, you've been approached to spend lots of money to cover another set of lofty and vague connections. Here's what a predator says. My services are so expensive because I have the in that no one else has to the big names. And what could happen? Going forward with this person, you're paying for a name, that's it, and again, not necessarily a perfect and immediate fit for your books to get them where you want them to be. The third sign of an author scam, each service costs and it's going to cost you big. Does the graphic artist really charge $500 for an ebook and paperback cover separately? What's the going rate of these services for what you need? Do you really need all of them? Think about your product, your book. Does this transaction sound like one at the used car lot? Did this shilling of services come right after a great admiration of your beauty? Number 4, he can get you a movie deal and your book is just perfect to turn into a screenplay. Beware. This is another way scammers can make money off you by selling another big dream, which they will keep coming back to bleed your pockets dry. Who is going to fund this movie? Most likely you, and it's going to get really expensive. Are you ready for that? Most books turned into successful movies were successful and popular books first. Why would a person want to put out a movie based on a book that isn't even known yet? Who is the potential audience to come out and fill the seats to confirm the film as a worthy investment? How much did he say you needed to fork over first to get started? $30,000? $50,000? There's always crowdfunding, but people are more likely to invest in something they have a relationship with or feel they can benefit from and find interesting enough. Saying it's your dream isn't enough to make most people spend money. What's in it for them? Sell the books first and make the movie deal a long-term, measurable goal. Number 5, come get on my team. We're doing big things. I know your book has the potential to be a bestseller. Oh, I don't need to read it. I can just tell by how pretty you are. Any reputable publisher wants to and requires reading some part of your manuscript, a synopsis, and at least your words on why you will be a good fit for their company, and they sure aren't offering contracts just on looks unless your looks can be packaged with your book somehow. Say if you were selling a makeup book or a hair book, fashion book. Publishers sell books, not hair, lips. Think about it. Why would someone be willing to take a risk on something they've never read? Beware of feel-gooders who pop up out of nowhere. This is a sign of serious troubles ahead. And why should they make a dime on something they haven't put anything into? Well, number 6, never share, split, or negotiate royalties with any publisher who you're paying, but they haven't done anything or paid anything to invest in you. You follow me? So how is it they earn something off your book? Do you still follow me? If they take no risk and invest nothing, they get no moolah, nada. A genuine publisher will invest to make money when the book is finished. A scammer makes their money on selling you products before the book is finished. And just what are they selling? Typesetters, editors, proofreaders, advanced readers, copyright packages. If they want to invest, they don't really believe in the book. I'll say it again. If they want to invest in you and your book, they don't really believe in the book. It's time to get out now. FYI, you can pay the U.S. Copyright Office or the entity in your country a fee to copyright your book yourself, usually at a very low cost, and fill out the paperwork yourself that you know for sure lists you as the copyright claimant. If someone other than you files claim of copyright on your manuscript, that copyright stands for 70 years. That means that if someone else ends up with the copyright of your book, such as a publisher, they own it for 70 years. If you sign a contract agreeing to give up your copyright to someone else, you're stuck. The only possible way to get out of this is to get the company or person to agree to return copyright, which they aren't likely to do without you losing a hefty sum. I must say, ignorance does not make a contract invalid. There are very few ways to get out of a contract at a lower cost, yet saying you just don't like the contract or you changed your mind or you didn't read it will not hold up in court. So don't go signing a contract figuring you can just ignore it later if things don't work out. No, my brother, you're about to learn the hard way. The seventh sign of an author scam. The publishing company exists only on Facebook, and the head of the company is living and wearing the best, but all her signed authors are living below the poverty line. Need I say more? I will. Do your research. Get off Facebook and look some people up. What are others saying about this publishing company? If there's nothing out there about this company, good or bad, pass. This is not a good look. What company doesn't have a web presence beyond social media? That's right, a scam. Somehow, although an author has all the signs of a scam jumping out in front of them, they still end up used and abused. Before we examine how to avoid an author scam, let's take a break and pay some bills. You Ain't the One may be a novella, but it will teach you what you won't do, someone else will, and they may be better at doing it. In this book, lies, cheating, and good old-fashioned payback are served on a hot platter with a sexy Latina mommy sitting on top. You'll have to read it to believe what happens when Tania Ruiz's two main lovers finally figure out they just ain't the ones. You Ain't the One is available from major e-tailers in paperback and from LaDramaPrincess.com.
Man, do I love card night. You ready, boys? You got a king?
Go, fish dad!
Oh, come on! This is WWE superstar Titus O'Neil. The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
As authors, we are often told we are our own marketing team. You place an ad here, go on a blog tour there, a Twitter chat here. Soon you have your own marketing plan. But there's something missing. Why not add an online radio book promo to that marketing plan? Contact Avid Reader Nation at gmail.com today to discuss the advertising or sponsorship package that's a perfect fit for you. Avid Reader Nation is a network of podcasts centered directly on authors and books. Avid Reader Nation. Go bigger, go better. Continuing this episode about the scams, ripoffs, and robberies against authors, there are several tips that you should definitely take to heart. In this segment, I will tell you how to avoid tip number 1, get references. You can research all day long, but nothing beats real-life experiences. The first place to start once you found out the name of a literary business is to search Google. If there's anything anyone has written about this person, Google is going to present it to you. Take a company's name and type it into the search bar. You will likely find some type of website, web posting the company or someone with the business has made. Next, search the company's name with the term scam behind it. If this company has done wrong and someone has written a report, you can find out all about it. Other ways to search, you will type in the company's name plus the terms lawsuit, Better Business Bureau, complaints, cons, ripoff, or etc. Tip number 2, ask questions. A scammer depends on you not asking any questions, Many people are afraid to ask things because they don't want to offend anyone and make them feel they don't trust anyone who offers to do business with you or with who has set up shop to conduct business has by default also opened themselves up to scrutiny. You deserve, no, you are supposed to question what your money is going into, who is receiving it, and what ways it will be used, and how that use affects you. Before you exchange any money, ask everything you need to know. It is fine to ask questions after initiation of the transaction, but it is easier to negotiate terms and expectations or move on if you've gotten your answers before money is sent. Tip number 3, get something in writing. And don't send any money until after what has been agreed upon is in writing and the contract has been signed by both parties. Ask for a written contract that you can save and print, or ask for one to be mailed or faxed to you. Social media messages and texts are proof of communication usable in a crunch, but a written contract is easier to reference when concerns and disputes arise. If a person cannot send some sort of a contract, abort. Press send on PayPal. Do not send a money order by mail. Do not send a bank transfer. All business must halt and should not resume again until a contract you both agree upon has been looked over and understood by both parties and contains conditions legal in the states of each party. Only after this should you sign. Remember how to avoid an author scam. Tip number 2, get your questions in writing as well. The answer to your questions should be in your contract. You must have a clear understanding of what you are agreeing to. If you cannot understand the contract, have a contract lawyer look it over. Fraud is one way a contract can be avoided. For example, if you were sold services or goods under deception in order to secure an unfair or unlawful gain, this means what, kids? The contract is void. It is a scam. It is not bad luck. It is not the seller having a rough time. It is not a misunderstanding. And I'm pretty sure they didn't mean well at any point throughout the transaction. Everyone has been taken. Everyone has their turn to be the sucker for somebody. I'm sorry, but if you are going to be doing anything online, you have to get a little wiser in protecting your intellectual property, yourself, your pocketbook, and your name. Don't be mistaken. Fraud is not the same as breach of contract. Threat of breach of contract upon charging fraud is to be expected coming from a scammer who wants to scare you into staying in bed with them to keep the bum deal going. Breach of contract occurs once at least one party does not honor their end of the agreement or when one interferes with the other party's performance of duties of the contract. Deciding to sever ties with a fraudster who practices deception is not breach of contract. Don't be fooled. How to avoid an author scam. Tip number 4. Contain your desperation. Tip number 5. Know the market value for the services you are buying. Found an editor that charges per page or by word count? Compare those prices to at least 3 editors in your genre. Ask questions. What style do they use when editing? What training and experience do they have? References? What comes up in Google about this person or business? Can they give you a sample editing job? Hold it right there. Before you send anything, is your work copyrighted? Do you know when a work has been properly copyrighted? Do you need your work edited for development? Running spell check is not editing a book. If an editor cannot send your document back with marked changes throughout, decline so they are, forget how everyone loves them, forget how so-and-so used them and said they were great. References are good, but there comes a time when a business has to stand on evidence of its valued work. What is one thing that many authors waste money on? Multiple editors for one book because editors 1, 2, 3, 4 couldn't do the job. Well, what is an editor's job? An editor's job is to edit, to make corrections, check for accuracy, check for consistency, organize, and make changes. Indeed, an editor examines spelling. They also examine grammar, and they also compare and change the work according to the style manuals and sheets. But a writer who has completed several drafts of their work has already self-edited their work as it is. Can you spot the errors in your own work? You should be able to. What doesn't flow? What sounds wacky? Where could you expound? What goes on too long? Once you've done everything possible to your manuscript, the editor gets in there and works on it some more. An editor's job isn't to take a first draft to finished in one go. An editor who has a job of finishing one complete novel won't be done in a week. They won't be done in 3 days. Once the editor is done and the author has looked at the work again and the editor has done everything to satisfaction, it must be proofread. What do you think? I have time to take some callers. If you're an author with an opinion of author scam signs or anything I've stated to avoid author scams, call into the Bonafide Literary Show and dial 818-495-6960. Press 1 to speak to me, and I will put you in the queue. Remember, you can stay anonymous. Fictitious names are definitely okay. So let's see who we have on the line. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from? Caller, are you there? All right, the caller is a little bit afraid. So if anyone else wants to get on the line, you can definitely press 1. I think we got a lot of fearful people tonight. So I'm going to pay some more bills and let you listen to this right here. Red hot with ample curves, Marquette Rochelle is the leading lady in swinging submission, deceit, and betrayal with a multiple partner twist. In this erotic novel, Marquette is deep in the lifestyle of mixing partners with her husband Josh Rochelle, and now she's getting down and dirty with him and her best friend's son. When it comes to Winlinda Jones, Marquette will find out once and for all what swinging is truly worth, but time is running out. Get your copy of Swinging Submission by La Drama Princess at ladramaprincess.com.
This is the sound of salmonella gyrating on your undercooked chicken. And it looks like Mom might be taking it out a little early. Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. So use a thermometer to cook each type of meat to the right temperature. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov. Brought to you by the USDA, HHS, and the Ad Council.
Dead Assets by Don Mescal. The undead arrive on the shores of Norfolk, Virginia, turning that community upside down. The natives are restless because the natives have developed a taste for human flesh. But the zombies may not be the only monsters on the block. One reader said, I couldn't put it down. I read the first 10 chapters the first day. Dead Assets is a damn good book. Dead Assets by Don Mescal is available on Amazon.com. Okay, we're back. I think we have a caller who may want to speak on the call. It's 727. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from? Do you want to give that up?
Hi, Stephanie White.
Hi, Stephanie.
Hello.
How are you doing? What do you want to contribute to this conversation?
Okay. It seems that contracts are not being written correctly, and you did a good job on explaining that to people. I don't think they understand that an e-book contract is not legal. So that's something that they also need to talk to their attorneys about. And also, before you sign any contract, you need to know what you are going to get out the deal. And do not sign away your. And so many people have signed away their rights. It's saddening because nobody reads. People don't take time. But when you're dealing with business, you need a contract attorney. You're not an attorney, so always refer to your attorney.
Right. Okay. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
Okay, we got a lot of new publishing companies that's popping up all over Facebook. You did a good job on explaining to people how to verify them. You should check them out with your city or state and see if they are actually been licensed to be operating in their city or state where they live, because that is a requirement. And then if you have a problem with them, you should refer them to your Better Business Bureau.
Right.
Okay. And unfortunately, I couldn't hear a lot of your stuff because it was echoing.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, my God. It's always something with this.
I know. That's one reason I was trying to get through to let you know it was echoing. So it's finally settled down. Now you can hear you good. So I probably missed a lot because of the echo. But
Well, I hope that wasn't prevalent for everybody. Okay.
You know, I do too. I hope it does. And maybe you can edit it out. I hope so.
I hope.
Okay.
Well, thank you for
no problem, man. It's a good show. All right. Bye.
Okay, before we went on break, we ran down the tips on avoiding an author scam. If you wanted to speak on this topic, hold on. I will take more callers during the show. But I wanted to discuss how authors can end publishing scams. So our caller just mentioned that as well. She just touched on that, but I'm going to go a little deeper. So if you've been scammed, write up an online report of it. There are online scam reporting sites. You can visit the Internet Crime Complaint Center at www.ic3, that's the number 3.gov. FBI Internet Fraud at www.fbi.gov and search for scams. The Better Business Bureau at www.bbb.org/council/bbb-scam-stopper. And the ever so lovely site, ripoffreport.com. Write a blog dedicated to your experience, and anyone who does a search on this scammer will find it and avoid the mistake, hopefully, of dealing with this charlatan. Stop doing business with the scammer. The minute you realize you are being ripped off or potentially robbed, stop communication and get to reporting. If your scammer resides only on Facebook, report their page. They can be stopped from misusing someone else, or at least you can make it troublesome to do so, because they most likely won't give up. Protect your work and stand up for yourself. Don't be afraid to say no to what doesn't feel right or doesn't sound right. Retain some control in your business relationship. Don't pay for everything. Negotiate a contract that benefits you. You should both win in this. Ask for your royalty reports. Put in your contract you want a regular review and reporting of your earnings. Reputable companies are transparent and can explain every charge or credit. They won't curse you out, threaten to embarrass you, or cut you off for bothering them and accusing them of for asking for your just due. Learn the publishing path you want to take. Don't let someone decide a path for you. Learn what is necessary to make your particular book and publishing endeavors a success. What is the first thing you can do for yourself to get things going? One of the worst things you can tell someone who says they are in the publishing business about your book is you don't know where to start or what you want. To a trickster, this is where they jump in and work their scheme. You've given them free rein to occupy your space when you say things like this. Save this conversation for your friends and family. You're listening to this show and you realize you're caught up in a scam plot with some publisher, promoter, publicist, editor, agent, whomever. What do? You get out and you do it now. How does an author get out of a scam? Well, let's go back to contracts. What did you sign? If you didn't sign anything, you still could be bound to dealing with the scammer unless you can prove fraud or the contract is invalid. Verbal contracts hold merit, and we already discussed social media messages as evidence in court. Again, contact the contract lawyer. You are going to need someone to help you out of this mess. Seek mediation. What does your state offer in the situation of a bad business deal? Look back at your contract. It may state an out. Has anyone on the phone or in the chat room experienced getting out of a scam? If you would like to say anything, if the cat doesn't have your tongue, you can always call in to 818-495-6960 and press 1. If not, we will go on. And I don't see any hands up ready to say anything. I would love to hear some feedback on some stories. But in the meantime, we are going to take a longer break and listen to this. Janju, the Voice of One Girl, and Janju, a Village Girl in a City by Priscilla Corintong is a story series about an African girl. Janju takes the reader into a world where young girls can make a difference in their community and strive to attain even more. From humble beginnings and perseverance comes the story of Janju, which captivates the reader with the eloquent description of the setting, the village of Khan, and the systems that work against Janju's progress. Rallying her village and motivating others through their shared cause, Janju shows exemplary courage and resilience in her constant perseverance, and so doing, reminding us of the common values for which we all must strive for. By Janju, the Voice of One Girl, and Janju, a Village Girl in a City by Priscilla Corintong for your child or classroom at www.janju.com, Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, BooksAMillion.com, and everywhere books are sold online. Welcome back to the Bonafide Literary Show. Thank you for listening to this episode of What Every Author Should Know, Avoiding Author Scams, Ripoffs, and Robbers, Straight Talk. So I want to continue on this show before we end things. And I want to tell you, if writing is your dream, take control of that dream. Dreams take hard work, and they take a lot of time that you have to actually put into yourself. If writing and having your books published is a get-rich-quick scheme, come on. There isn't a paved road to pots of fame, money, and awards as a writer. It's just not something that you should bank on because wealth and stardom doesn't really happen for most writers or people in general. If you can make enough to pay a bill every month or put groceries in your house every week, you're doing good as a writer. Most writers today, though, have an unrealistic view of what it takes to be a writer, figuring they will try writing because 50 Shades of Grey took off or Iceberg Slim is a legend, a mindset which fuels author scams. Scammers know you've read all the articles on the success story of Hugh Howey and J.K. Rowling. They've read them, too, because they need to know what makes for a better sale to you. If you've always wanted to be an author, nurture your dreams, stay grounded and stay realistic, and know that there is no formula to making it big as a writer. Be someone who writes because they enjoy it, because they are a good writer, because they are good at weaving stories. Don't be a writer because it's in now. You'll end up disappointed. Again, as stated in How to Avoid an Author Scam, tip number 4, control your desperation. We'll take one last break before we wrap our discussion. What Makes Me Tick? Living with Tourette Syndrome by Chris Mason is a memoir about his life with Tourette Syndrome, an obsessive-compulsive disorder. The book aims to raise honest awareness of the realities and truths of living with one of the world's most misunderstood neuropsychiatric disorders. It squashes misconceptions and exposes many facets of the disorder that are rarely made public. Readers will laugh, they will cry, they will be shocked at what they didn't know, and be ashamed by their previous assumptions. In all, Chris tells a brutally honest story that attempts to put readers in his shoes. You can get this book, What Makes Me Tick? Living with Tourette Syndrome, by Chris Mason on Amazon.com. Submit to the Dark Side, Stories to Explain the Stains, is a book like an open window to the underworld of black sex. Everything you could have imagined is in this book of short stories. The scenes are graphic and the wordplay will get you so hot you will have to touch it or get Read for yourself and see what everyone's been talking about. Buy the special edition of Submit to the Dark Side, Stories to Explain the Stains, only from thedramaprincess.com.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and
pour me out. This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
I hope you truly enjoyed this episode of the Bonafide Literary Show as enlightening and you were able to get much out of it. And thank you to my caller Stephanie tonight for her input and everyone who stopped into the chat room to observe and everyone listening on the line. Don't stop the conversation. Go to www.bonafideliteraryshow.com and hit the link for the post What Every Author Should Know, Season 3, Episode 3, to drop a line in the comment section. If you couldn't get on the line, this is your opportunity to share your story. Or if you were afraid to speak on the line, share your story there. Like the Bonafide Literary Show fan page and follow all Avid Reader Nation shows on Twitter at Avid Reader Shows. Get updates about the Bonafide Literary Show always at www.bonafideliteraryshow.com when you subscribe through email. Next week, Sunday, February 22nd at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, catch Keith Kareem Williams on the Bonafide Literary Show here on the Avid Reader Nation page on blogtalkradio.com or your preferred app where you subscribe to this show. Saturday, February 21st at 9 p.m. Eastern, Carrie E.B. Black drops into Outskirts Science Fiction Theater to read her work Malfeasium. Teray Morton has the book tea with me, Deidra Hughey, at 3 p.m. Eastern, February 19th. Find out about the 15 laws of fitness for beginners when you stream us. Get all my erotica updates and hear my very adult podcast, Submit to the Dark Side Radio, by visiting LaDramaPrincess.com. I'm your host, Deidra Hughey, signing off.